Hello, it's Elizabeth, and I'm here in my art loft. And the other day, I belong to a group called Handmade Books and something else. I forgot what the other thing was, Handmade Books and something. Anyway, the other day I showed in there a book that I had made some time ago. And today I want to show you because I think it's fun. I took a long piece of watercolor paper, and it actually turns out it was 42 inches long. And I decided to make it use the lotus fold. Somebody told me that this is a lotus fold. I had forgotten the name of it. But the lotus fold is where you folded the horizontal and vertical, and then you folded one diagonal. And when you do that, then it closes up into a nice little square. Each of these squares are 6 inches across and up and down, of course, because square means it's the same across as it is up and down. And of course, each of the smaller squares then would be 3 inches across, 3 inches up and down, of course. And when I did this, I just left all of my paper together because I had a long piece of paper, and I left it together. And then I scored it, and you can see that the 300-pound watercolor paper doesn't really like being scored like that. But I scored it every 3 inches. So I scored it here, 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 and so on, and so on. And this one's got a boo-boo on it, so I'm going to go get me another one real quick. No, I'll just use the other thing. Okay, well, if you score it like that, you can actually make a nice little fan fold book that will end up being 3 by 6 size. So I scored it on all of the 3 inches. Then I was very careful and spread it out again and scored it on the 3-inch across. So when I did that, then I had, you can see what I had. I had, squares here. I had squares everywhere. But then I did the diagonals, and when I did the diagonals, I made sure that it went from the top right to the bottom left, and then when I started to the next one, it was the bottom left to bottom right to the top left. So top right to the bottom left, and then bottom right to the top left. Okay? So that when I cut this, so I cut here, then I cut down this side, then I cut up from the bottom, then down from the top, up from the bottom, and down from the top. So that made 7 panels that were each 6 inches across, and until I folded them, of course, and then they were 3-inch lotus folds. So there's one, and then when you fold it together, it all turns out into a nice little square. So I like that a lot. So I found another piece of paper that I had that was about the same size as that, and this actually has kind of a distressing look on it. It almost looks like leather, although it's not leather, it's paper. But because of the, I don't know, it's embossed slightly on it stuff, then it looks like that. And it is the same fold, but it's a lot lighter weight paper. So, and I don't know what weight it is at all. So if you ask me, sorry, don't know. But the thing that's nice about this is that you can take this fold and do fun things with it and make fun, odd, maybe they're odd instead of fun, shapes with it. And actually this one, yeah, this one does have a total of 42 inches. And if you put these two together like this, so that it's a total round, then you can kind of just flip through it. And someone told me this is called a meander lotus meander fold, something like that. Anyway, the people in the Handmade Books group are really handy, really nice about helping you with knowing what what it's called if you don't know, and I didn't. Okay, so I decided that if I wanted to do this as a book instead of just a structure, then what I wanted to do was to take this last one, well, either end, you can actually take either end you prefer, and to take the end piece and to cut it so that it only has one overlapping thing to the other edge, overlapping part when you tuck it into the other edge. So what I did was to cut off 3 sides of this, and I'm going to cut it just a little bit, not exactly on the fold, but just inside the fold, so that it will tuck into the other end really nicely. So I just cut that in just inside the fold, and then it will tuck into the other end and be beautifully tucked in, because it will be able to tuck in easier than a whole set of folds tucking in. If you just have one little piece tucking in, it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so if we take this around to the circle again, and we just tuck this tuck this side in, then that works pretty well, except it's still raised up a little bit because of it being just slightly too wide on this. So we'll take just a skinny piece off of that, and it will tuck in even better. Okay, so skinny piece, and tuck this in now. And we only have to take it off of there because the outer edge, they should meet up evenly. Now, when I did it on my other piece of paper, which I'll show you in a moment, I did take it off of both edges, but I didn't have to. Okay, so then I decided, well, this is fun, and you can play with it, but it would be more fun if it had some color to it. So I went to my gel print stash, and I found some pieces that were left over from a book I made recently called Fire and Ice. And I took a few of those pages and cut them in, and I'm only going to do one of these today, but I cut them into 4 spaces. And since these are 3 by 3, then I made my cut pieces 2.5 by 2.5, and that would give me a nice margin of 1/4 of an inch all the way around it. So what I did then was to decide which side I wanted to work with, and I spread out my book. I undid the thing together again, spread out the book, and if I want I think I'll put these on what I call the outside, so this side. And I just picked a page and then made each subsequent page the same color. So this is orange, so I took the orange ones and did one page, and then I did the next page, the other side of the whole structure I did in blue. And when I did that, I kind of laid them out to say, oh, well, does this look good like this, or does it look better if I do it different ones in different squares? Because then, your eye travels with the blue, kind of goes through here, over to here, and down here again. So I think I like that. Okay, so the ones that are on solid, and I'm going to stick something on here to make this lay down, because it's not wanting to do that. Come on and lay down. There we go. Sit, boo-boo, sit. Oh, paint is good. Nope, that one's not. It's not full enough. That one is. Okay, that one can sit there, and that one, well, maybe it's not full enough either. Bet I've got something that'll hold that down. There, that'll hold it down. Okay, so the plain panels, I simply took my art glitter glue, which is just PVA glue in a nice little pointy bottle, and get that goop off of there. Well, can't do that. Okay, and I took it and just glued it on with the PVA glue. And it worked pretty well on my watercolor paper and gel prints. My gel prints are done on the Finch Vine. You can find it at Staples. I don't know if you can find it anywhere else, but I know you can find it there. I've had mine for years and trying to use up the stash, and it takes a while. Okay, so the square ones are really easy. But on here, you can't glue this like this, because if you do, then the movement of that will make it not work. So what I did with that is to cut, and I'll show you that in just a second, as soon as I glue this one down. Let me do one thing at a time instead of trying to get ahead of myself. Okay, that looks good for that one. and I tried to center them. They're not, if you measure them, I'm sure they're not absolutely perfect, but you know, they're good enough. And when I make a little boo-boo like that, I have a little wet paper towel to clean off any excess glue. And thank goodness that my paper is forgiving enough that it will let me go ahead and clean that off. Now, of course, if a corner comes up, I can fix that with the art glitter glue at a later time, and sometimes they do that. Okay, so where I have the triangles, I don't want to have a paper glued on that fold, because if I do, it'll get bulky, because I'm going to glue papers on the other side too. So what I did was to just simply take this and fold it into a triangle from corner to corner, and then I took my scissors and cut off about what I think of as 3/16 of an inch. No, not quite. Not a quarter of an inch, but a little less than a quarter of an inch, because I felt like if I made them a quarter inch, like if I made this a quarter-inch margin here, then it would look funny. So what I've actually done is made basically a quarter-inch in between the two things. So your eye, I hope, sees this as a separate square, and it sees a quarter-inch here, quarter-inch here, and quarter-inch here. If it doesn't, well, then I might have to do some drawing on here to make it more easily noticed. But I tried to line this up so that the top of it, or this edge of it, was even with that edge, and this edge of it, gotta scoot over just a little, and our glitter glue does not want to do that, so let's pick your little butt up and do that again. Okay, so scoot him over here, because I want this edge to line up with that, and this edge to line up with that, and I think then it will look visually pleasing, whether or not it's exact. Down. I did consciously go through when I did my gel prints, I did make sure that the grain of the paper is vertical to the grain. The same as the grain of the paper that I'm gluing it on. That keeps it from trying to pop off as easily. And so this edge should match that edge, and that edge should match that edge, and I think it does. So we have, I'm putting too much glue on there. I didn't do that yesterday when I was making the other one. So that's what that one looks like. And if you want to see that again, I'm going to need to, nope, that's down. It's a little harder to glue, I think, on this page because of the embossing that's on there. It's just ever so slightly, those little spidery lines are kind of embossed. So one long sheet of paper, 42 inches by 6 inches, and then you fold it at every 3 inches. Then you do the diagonal folds, one and then another, opposite each other. And I know these are not exact when I'm cutting them, because one little line I might make a little thicker than the other. Although those two look pretty good, don't they? Don't those look about the same? Pretty good. Okay, so then we glue this one on. And that was there. And that was there, I believe. And it looks good like that, so it'll work. Again, trying to line those up with the other blocks that are already on there. Trying to make sure I don't have excess glue peeking out. Stop that, you bad glue. Just a little bit more right there. Probably too much. Okay, and line him up with that one, line him up with that one. And then we have one whole square that we're finished with. So I will put more orange, probably orange related, ones that relate to this one on this side of the book. The fan fold book, Lotus book. Scoot just a little. Yeah. Nope, you don't want to scoot like I want you to. I'll pick you up. And we'll put you back down again. Just the right spot. That looks pretty good. Okay, so when I finish this book, then I might make it a box too. But the book that I made yesterday, which was done with the watercolor paper, I'm just kind of smoothing those down, I have finished, and I will show you what it looks like when it's finished. I also made it a box today, and I love how it looks, and I hope you do too. Put that away. Put that out of my way since it didn't help me. And here's the box. This is a gel print. And you can see that the lid doesn't fall off. It's because I made it really tight. I like to make them really tight so they don't fall off. But you can just take your fingernail or a knife or whatever and just pull it loose. And then the book just pops out. And there's the whole thing. Again, a gel print inside. We'll put that aside and we'll play with the actual book. So this is the one that I cut off the extra three blocks. And when I did it, I didn't put anything on the inside of this, the end of the book. But when I put them together, then this just kind of comes in here like this. And it won't totally stay in there. I've decided, I don't know if I'm going to put any Velcro or something like that in there. Excuse me. But you can still play with it and let it sit in certain positions. And these are all gel prints on the outside of this. This is the blue side. Get there. Go back in there, you. And again, the orange side looks like that. I'll just show you the gel prints. It's kind of fun. Knocking over things. I like this one a lot. And on the other side, the blue ones. And there you have it. And then we can just fold it back up, put it back in its box, and be done with it. Or we can play with it more with the... You can display it in any number of ways that you might want to display it. It's fun to play with. I've played with it a lot. But I think it's time for my video to be over, so I'll show you one more look of it sculpturally. And then I'll let you go. Thanks for watching. Hope you like my video. If you do, please subscribe. If you don't, well, you can subscribe if you want anyway. Press the like button and the bell and you can share it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.